Hi guys, welcome back to Daniel's project. This is another training theory video. It's about teaching principles in our movement practice. So I present a couple of teaching principles that I like to use within my own teaching, and hopefully you can apply some of these principles in your own teaching as well, or teaching yourself. I'm going to use the handstand as an example for explaining some of these principles, because recently I created an online handstand course for beginners with my friend Jonathan, and we somehow implemented all of these principles in the online course. So maybe you will find some of these principles in the online course as well. And yeah, without further ado, let's hop straight into the video. Hello guys, welcome to this video where I would like to talk about some teaching principles in our movement practice. And I truly believe that we can use most of these principles in other areas of life as well. So this is not just related to our movement practice, but also to other things. But because this channel is, I would like to talk about topics from a movement practice and philosophy and other areas. Let's just talk about teaching principles in our movement practice. So in Germany, we actually have this saying, it's called "all roads lead to Rome." I don't know if there's a similar saying in English, although this is English, but I think one similar thing would be there's more than one way to skin a cat. So let's have this one here in mind for this video, because this is actually the baseline of my argumentation right now for teaching people, because there's always more than one way to skin a cat or to teach a person, because we are all super individual and complex. So for this, I would like to draw a map of Italy, because all roads lead to Rome, and would like to mention the first principle, or just one principle. Make use of a metaphorical language to break down complex structures. And in this case, I would like to use the metaphor of Italy and its cities to develop my point or my argument. So this is the first, or one principle that you can use while teaching people, because a metaphorical language can actually paint a colorful picture in a student's mind. So this is much nicer to just explain things very, in a very black and white manner. So for my argumentation, I would like to draw a map of Italy. Sorry for my bad drawing skills in advance. So this is the shoe of Italy somehow. And here's Sicily. Okay, and this city here, this is Rome. But there are some other cities in Italy as well, some bigger cities. One would be, for example, this is Milan, this is Bologna, this is Florence, sorry. Naples is down here, I think. And let's take another city. This would be Messina, I guess. So Milan, Bologna, Florence, Naples, and Messina. So stay with me. I'm trying to develop my point or my argumentation in a few seconds. Just put this down here. So as I've mentioned before, there's more than one way to skin a cat, or all roads lead to Rome, which means there are different ways that we can use to reach the same goal. So let's take the handstand as an example, because handstand is super easy. It's a nice example. So the person wants to learn a handstand. One principle would be actually to, I would write this down on the left side, facilitate the environment instead of showing the way itself. So with regards to a handstand, you should show, oh, nope, this is black. Let's go back to the idea of Italy. So Rome is the handstand. Let's assume that Rome is a 30 seconds handstand. Let's write this down on this side, 30 seconds handstand. And a person is starting either from starting point 1 or starting point 2. So let's assume we have 2 individuals and they're completely different people. So for example, this person here, person 1, has a lot of strength. Has a lot of strength, but is really having a lot of fear being upside down. So it has a lot of issues with kicking up into a handstand, but no issues of holding a pike stand and all related strength exercises. And in starting point 2, we have a person who has 0 strength, but no fear of going upside down. So there's more than one way to skin a cat. So we have to apply 2 basic teaching methods to achieve a 30-second handstand. So first of all, as a teacher, you have to know that there are certain principles or things apply in a handstand. So we have to work on the body alignment. We have to work on the strength capacity to support us. Also, we have to work on balancing and rebalancing aspects. We have to work on the kick-ups and other entrances into the handstand. And then for sure, we have to work on the freestanding handstand. So this is a basic road to a 30-second handstand. But for both persons, we have to carve out a different path for both of them because they have different starting points. So let's facilitate the environment instead of showing the way itself. The way itself would be you do this, 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 and then you reach the 30-second handstand. But we want to give the student a chance to feel what is the right way for him by making him aware of his individual strength and weaknesses. So we have to make person 1 aware of his strength, which is his strength, and his weakness would be his fear of going upside down. And for person 2, we have to make him or her aware of her strength of going upside down. That's not an issue for her, but that she's having a lot of issues with the strength, which is basically the capacity for supporting herself on her hands. So we are teaching both persons. So we have to make use of principle number 3, that teachings that promote comparison and competition are wrong. So we don't want to say to person 1, you're much better than person 2, and for person 2, you're much worse than person 1, and vice versa, because this won't help us and them with their goal of reaching a handstand. So this is principle number 3. Principle number 4, which is a follow-up principle of this one, is building trust. So we have to find a connection to both persons, and trust is always mutual. So between you and the student, and between the student and you as a teacher, So trust is the bedrock for growth and progress. So you have to trust the student has to trust you, but the student has also has to trust also the progress of, or the process of learning a handstand. This is also important, to have trust in the process, and then you will reach the handstand. Especially for adults, because I think most of the people that are seeing this video are teaching adults. We have to apply principle number 5, which is incremental learning. So step by step learning. So the beginner can become a master of its craft. So what do I mean by that? Let's assume we are starting point number 1, we are person number 1, and the next step would be actually go from Milan to Bologna. But there are different ways to get from Milan to Bologna. There's not just one way. And the city Bologna, as in this case, would represent a milestone. Each city represents a milestone. Let's have this one in mind. So you can show, actually, you can facilitate the environment from going from Milan to Bologna to the next milestone, which would actually be overcoming the fear of going upside down. But there are different ways to do that. So you can work with kick-ups, or you can work with wall walks, or other ways to, or just being in a frog stand and then working up from there. You can work with different ways, and you just want to show the student the next step, which is incremental learning. So it is in his reach, in his sight. So it's not too far away. So the student is very much motivated to move on to the next step, but you're not giving him way number 1 and he has to do way number 1. You are giving him a few different ways according to his own personal preferences, so the student can figure out his own unique path towards Bologna. So we said that Bologna was overcoming the fear of being upside down. So this is Bologna. Let's make a box around here. And then after the student reached Bologna, you already know the milestones, because you went this way, because you got a 30-second freestanding handstand, and that's why you start teaching handstand. So now we have the same thing again. From Bologna, there are lots of ways to Florence, not just 3, but maybe 4 or 5. There's no right way of going to Florence, so there's more than one way to skin a cat, or there's more than one way to reach Florence. And this can be, for example, of 60-second chest to wall handstand. This is the next milestone, this city here. And then the student reached this city, and then you're again providing the student with a few more drills and exercises to reach Rome. You can more work on the kick-ups and the entrances, because the student it's really relatively easy for him to balance, but the kick-ups or different kick-ups into a handstand are very much difficult for him. So you show him the different ways, and then the student can go the way by himself. The same goes, of course, for person number 2. She's starting here down in Messina, which we mentioned before was no strength, but also no fear. So we obviously have to work on the strength, and she has to move from Messina to Naples over sea, maybe, or over land. And the next milestone for her would be a 60-second pike stand. this is just an example, so don't take this too seriously. And so on, there are much more cities in between, so much more milestones towards the 30-second handstand from here, of course. But I just wanted to use this, this map of Italy as a metaphor. So make use of metaphorical language to break down complex structures, to break down this topic for you, and facilitate the environment instead of showing the way itself is facilitate Italy in this case, facilitate ways to reach the next step, which is incremental learning. So it is in his or her sight and perspective and reach, and just facilitate the environment and not saying you have to do this and this and this, and then you reach the goal of the next step. And also don't encourage to compare both students, or that the student is comparing him or herself to another student. We are all different, although we are all humans, but we have different stressors in our life, different everyday lives, different jobs, strengths and weaknesses. And as I've mentioned before, use incremental learning. So a step-by-step learning is really, really important, especially for adults. So difficult material can be grasped very easily. So a beginner can become a master over years of time. And one more thing, but that's not really a principle, is that it has to be felt and understood in a deep manner. It's more of a, I would say, romantic principle. It's a more subjective thing. So you can explain so much to the student when you're teaching the student, but the student will not get it if he or she is not feeling it and not understanding it in a truly deep way. So you always have to ask yourself, how can I facilitate, or what can I provide him or her with exercises and things that she or he is getting the thing, or is feeling the thing I'm having in my mind right now. There are lots of aha moments, which is super important in making progress, not just pure and sheer numbers. So if you finally understand something, it makes click in your head, in your mind, and then things become a lot easier from there. So yeah, that's it for this video. This is my perspective, or just one perspective on teaching with some principles. So if you're interested in teaching, or teaching also yourself, or maybe your parents or someone else with anything, maybe a muscle up or something else from a movement practice, juggling, whatsoever, maybe have those principles in your mind, and also reflect on yourself and on your teaching and on your behavior, and maybe come back to this metaphor of using Italy as a map, or another metaphor. And I hope this video really helped you with your own teaching, and you learned something new with this. Would be amazing. Again, if you want to support me, please like the video, share this one with others, on Instagram, on YouTube, wherever you feel this is needed, and subscribe to the channel, and see you guys in the next video. Bye bye, guys.